Hi everyone, we are group 16. I'm Eric. Together with my partner Han, we are going to present Operation Improvement Program of HIP-OP for Hopkins Hospital. Here we recommend that Hopkins Hospital to designate two groups of non-obese versus high BMI obese group of patients to different days of operations. We recommend two different shorter inter-arrival time to 75 minutes and 80 minutes for non-obese versus obese groups respectively, and dedicate two anesthesiologists and two surgeons to track A, and assign two anesthesiologists and two surgeons to the same pool and pooling all the four operating rooms together. By doing this, we are able to get daily surgery count by 55% and reduce the patient flow time by 25%. And with less than 62% of employee utilizations, employee will not feel overburdened, and 7.7% of patient rejection rate only, which means a much smaller amount of patient has to wait for the next day for surgery.
The Hopkins Hospital is facing a challenge. Their surgeon performs fewer surgeries per day than private practice. So our target is to explore how to improve the operation process. The HIP-OP is a workflow where patients with varying metrics require different resources and processing time at different stages, which is a job shop process, because the job shop process involves a varying of jobs with different processing requirements, routing through multiple workstations in different sequences. Our primary KPI is to increase the number of surgery to 7 or more per track per day. Currently the number is around 7, and we are also aiming to minimize the patient flow time. In addition, we are also hoping to balance the employee utilization, make sure that the utilization rate of staff remains a reasonable level, avoiding overutilized or underutilized. We're also hoping to increase the overall profit of the hospital by improving the operation efficiency. To achieve our goals, in addition to adjust the process, we will also consider increasing the staff, which is, of course, comes with additional cost, but we will make sure that the hospital profit does not drop. The pain points for current process include high utilization of OR, CRN, and the surgeons. It suggests that operating rooms, CRN, and the surgeons are already operating at maximum capacity, which can lead to scheduling bottlenecks, delays, and potential staff burnout. And the lack of centralization coordinates of operation rooms and human resources is also a pain point. This indicates that the potential for inefficiency in resource allocation and management. So we will try pooling method for solving this issue. We are also facing a low degree of process standardization, which means high standard deviation. This highlights the inconsistency with variance in the process, likely resulting in unpredictable waiting time and difficulties in scheduling and resource allocation. We started the simulation with pooling, because pooling is essentially a reorganization which is free of cost, and we run two scenarios for pooling the OR and the CRNA. But the results are not shown here, is that the number of surgeries did not improve much, and the patient flow time has only shortened a little bit. Also, the utilization for OR and CRNA are still very high. So next, we will try to add more staff to lighten the workload. In scenario 3, we ran the simulation for adding one more CRNA. Compare with scenario 2, number of surgeries went up, and we can see a decrease in flow time. The utilization for surgeons are still very high. So how about, instead of adding a CRNA, we add a physical assistant? This is what we did for scenario 4, adding a physical assistance in the pool. But the improvement for number of surgeries and the flow time was not as good as scenario 2. The utilization for the additional PA is less than 5%, which is very underutilized. So for the next scenario, we try adding one more CRNA and one more PA. And we can see that the number of surgeries and patient flow time improved. Furthermore, the utilization for CRNA has also dropped to an acceptable level. For scenario 3 and 4, we discovered that adding one more CRNA creates more marginal improvement than adding one more PA. So for the final scenario, we added one more CRNA in addition to scenario 5. The improvement is also significant. Number of surgeries per track hit 6, and the patient flow time dropped to around 140 minutes. However, the utilization for OR, CRNA, and PA are now in a balanced level, so adding new staff may seem to be a waste of resources. I will leave Eric to explore more ways to achieve our KPI targets.
Now we look into how the variance impact the workflow. A 50% reduction of standard deviations in each study time, surgery, and clinic time from base case respectively will only improve the flow time slightly, but will not help to increase the daily completed surgery count. Interestingly, we learned from Kanuja and Wang that how BMI can influence the surgery time efficiency and the variance. Here we try to split the patient pool into low BMI versus the obese group, shown by the table at bottom left, and then we will have two groups of new mean and variance, with one much lower than the base case. We can see that splitting the BMI groups between track A and B can improve the patient flow time in track A by 5.4%, which is the non-obese group. So although the variance improvement here is very slight, it can still be very insightful for our next optimization approach. Next, we will look at how we manage the stress level of patients and the family members through the surgery flow. Given the base case, where the flow is limited by high utilizations as discussed before, slowing the inter-arrival time will definitely help to reduce the wait time by 25%. For the case that we already optimized with pooling and utilization, we only see a slight improvement of few percentage only. This is due to potential idling in operation rooms, anesthesiologists, and surgeon pool. So we need to be mindful that this idling will prevent us from completing 6 surgeries per track per day. And there's a balance of psychology and revenue we want to play and optimize here. So next we look into how we optimize it. In any logic, we look into profit optimizations using surgery cost of 39,000 without insurance and salary of surgeons, anesthesiologists, registration staff, and cleaning crew from Glassdoor. Knowing that optimizations routine may potentially increase the headcount and may further reduce the utilization or resource efficiency, right? We recommend to speed up the inter-arrival time to 75 minutes in the optimization routine. Then we ended up with a solution that dedicates 2 anesthesiologists and 2 surgeons or PA to track A, and 2 anesthesiologists and 2 surgeons or PA to the pool as well. Then we are able to get at least 6 surgeries per track, but still not hitting 7. Then we introduce a creative scheduling to allocate 2 BMI groups to 2 different days. One day having a much smaller variance for non-obese group, and the other day having a standard variance, close to standard variance number for the obese group. Then we can see dedicated track A is getting a hit of 7 surgeries per track per day. The obese group is still giving 6 surgeries per track with 10 minutes longer flow time. To further manage the psychology factor, we do recommend to assign 80 minutes inter-arrival time to obese group instead, achieving almost similar flow time with the non-obese group. In conclusions, utilization management that dedicate existing anesthesiologists and surgeons to track A only, plus pooling implementations of anesthesiologists as well as pooling all the operating rooms, and variance management of having 2 BMI groups and with different shorter arrival time for 2 different groups, So we are able to have a consistent 7 daily surgeries in the dedicated track A for non-obese groups. So we're able to increase the surgery count by 54% from the base case. Patient flow time reduces to 152 minutes, which is about 52% improvement. And a balance of employee utilizations, we are seeing less than 62% for CRNA and surgeons. And we are able to reduce the patient rejection rate so that they don't have to come back again the next day to 77.7%, which is much lower. And and most importantly, our annual profit will go up to 97 millions, which is 54% higher.
We have also conducted a DEI analysis for ethical practice. The biggest argument here is that we group the patients based on their BMIs. So it is important to avoid the potential discrimination and biases. Also, a clear communication system can help the patients to better understand the rationale behind the grouping system.